Hello hockey fans, I'm Rick Scarborough and you're watching Blue and White Weekly. The Four Nations face-off has reached its halfway point and the big rivalry games have come and gone. So let's take a look back at the weekend's action and get into everything you need to know as we approach the end of the round robin. If you haven't seen it already, be sure to check out our coverage of Wednesday's Canada-Sweden game with special guest Steve Dangle. Now we know you've tuned in for the big one, the Canada-USA game, but there's two matchups we have to discuss first, so let's get into them now. Thursday night brought us the first game of the tournament for both USA and Finland. The Americans were the heavy betting favorites in this one, and by that I mean Americans' favorite thing is betting. And they're heavy. The Finns opened up the scoring on an awkward angle shot from Henri Jokiharju, and I thought we were about to get playoff hellebuck. Fortunately for the USA, that was the end of it as far as Finnish goals go. Seeing that goal go in, however, clearly awoke something in the Tkachuk brothers as they both pot two, and with help from Jake Guentzel and Matt Boldy, the Americans would kick off their time at the Four Nations with a 6-1 win over Finland. Now, it came out Friday morning that Canadian defenseman Cale Makar was out from practice with an illness, or, as anyone that's ever been to a hockey tournament in Montreal calls it, a hangover. Seeing as Canada was already down a defenseman in Shea Theodore, the NHL has allowed them to call in an emergency backup defenseman. Not Mackenzie Weegar and not Chris Tanev. No, that'd be silly. No, they got themselves Thomas Harley of the Dallas Stars. You know what? Sure, it's not like he's actually going to play games, right? Right? Saturday's action got kick-started in the afternoon with the Battle of the Norse Gods as longtime rivals Sweden and Finland squared off. From puck drop, both teams traded goals just as often as they traded hits, with the game 3-3 heading into overtime. They wouldn't need the extra 5 minutes that the rules of this tournament allow for. In fact, they'd only need just under 2 minutes before Mikael Granlund found a way past Kevin Lankinen to give Finland the win and the 2 points. But as fun as that game was, it was Saturday evening we were all looking forward to, the main event, Canada and the United States. The Montreal crowd took over the anthem, singing "O Canada" so loud they could be heard in Washington, before former multi-time UFC champion and Montreal native Georges St-Pierre welcomed Team Canada to the ice. But surely the presence of such a prolific fighter wouldn't have an impact on the game itself, right? Off the opening puck drop, Brandon Hagel and Matthew Tkachuk throw down, and I'm sure the only reason they don't like each other is because they play for Tampa and Florida, respectively. Mere seconds after that matchup, on the very next face-off, Sam Bennett and Brady Tkachuk dropped the gloves, and I'm certain they were just wanting to keep their buddies company in the penalty box. But if you thought after 2 opening fights that the game would finally get underway, you're wrong. The Americans bring the puck down into the Canadian zone, and JT Miller gets just a little too close to Jordan Binnington, and Colton Parayko, who may just be the largest man playing in this tournament, takes exception to that. They throw down, and now I'm really starting to think that these guys don't like each other very much. But from there, things settle down and the game plays on. Now, the settling down would only happen for about 5 minutes or so until Connor McDavid remembered that he's Connor McDavid, and he roofs a backhander to give Canada the early lead, bringing Montreal and the entire nation to their feet. Unfortunately, that's about the last time that would happen. Not long after that, Jake Guentzel gets an absolute muffin past Jordan Binnington, who probably should have had that, and the game is tied 1-1 after 1. No need to panic just yet. Now, if you're one of the sorry folks, like me, who decided to check Twitter during the intermission, you probably saw a volley of the most politically insensitive and crass things to ever be said on Twitter since... Actually, who am I kidding? It's Twitter. That's basically their entire gimmick. The game remained even in both play and score for the beginning of the second, and both teams are throwing hits like it's Game 1 of the Cup Finals, which, speaking of, this was probably the most fun and entertaining hockey has felt since the playoffs. At least I was entertained and having fun until Dylan Larkin put the Americans up 2-1 midway through the second, and once again, it'd be nice if Jordan Binnington could stop that. I'm sure Logan Thompson is probably sitting at home right now thinking, feels like there's something I should be doing tonight. Not sure what, though. And from there, Canada could barely get any shots on goal as the Americans put on a defensive masterclass, shutting down the front of their net as Jake Guentzel puts another one into the Canadian net, empty this time, and USA takes the game 3-1. I'm sure everybody's going to be very civil about this outcome. And so with that win, Team USA clinches a berth in the championship game. while Canada must win on Monday to have a chance at redemption. Looking ahead in the week, we're shipping up to Boston as the tournament moves south of the border for the next batch of games. Monday afternoon, Canada and Finland square off in a do-or-die matchup for both squads. Then in the evening, Sweden will try and do some damage against the undefeated Americans as they too look to try and stay alive. Then, depending on how Monday goes, one of Canada, Finland, or Sweden will face Team USA for the championship on Thursday night. Be sure to keep it locked here on Blue and White Weekly because we'll have all those games for you next week, plus so much more. But for now, thank you very much for watching, hockey fans. Be sure to like and subscribe. And remember, go Canada, go. We'll see you soon.